Good afternoon. In today's news, Michigan has its first virtual Happy Little 5K and a resource officer slams a 15-year-old girl to the ground.
Maya Kurth looks for more snow in our forecast, and later Todd Rose will be back with the update on sports. Hi, I'm Joseph Sigourney.
I'm Todd Rose, and welcome to your Public Eye News on a Wednesday afternoon. The second installment of the NMU Visiting Writers series is coming up in just a few short weeks' time. This time, two writers will share their work and discuss things with the NMU students, faculty, and members of the public. Jennifer Scabatoni and Judd Morrissey will both appear as part of the series. The two will be presenting a joint project titled Lament, or The Mine Has Been Opened Up Well, which was based on research done in the Copper Country. The event takes place Thursday, November 21st at 7:30 p.m. in Ballroom 1 of the Northern Center. And if you're already looking forward to post-winter activities, here's one for you. The first ever Happy Little 5K Run for the Trees virtual race is slated to take place this upcoming spring. The event, a virtual 5K, can take place anywhere for participants as long as they run, walk, or jog the distance outside between April 17th and 26th. The proceeds from the event will go to helping replant trees in Michigan state parks that were lost due to invasive species. The cap for the race was originally set at 1,000 competitors, but due to budding interest, it has been increased. Registration opens up the 1st of January.
According to a press release from the Marinette County Sheriff's Office, a single vehicle crash in Stevenson, Wisconsin left 63-year-old Scott A. Barnhart dead Wednesday afternoon. Marinette County Dispatch received a call at 3:21 p.m. from a hunter who was nearby and reported the crash on Tuesday. Barnhart was found in the wreckage and was pronounced dead at the scene due to severe head injuries. The Kingsford, Iron Mountain, Norway, and Dickinson Drug Enforcement Team, also known as KIND, arrested an Iron Mountain man on multiple drug charges. According to the KIND release, 31-year-old Richard Lefebvre was arrested on 2 counts of delivery of a controlled substance, methamphetamine, 2 counts of delivery of a controlled substance in a school zone, 1 count of maintaining a drug house and habitual offender second notice. No information was immediately available on the background of the case or how and when the arrest happened.
And some hunting-related news now as we approach opening day on the 15th. The Michigan House of Representatives have voted to lift the ban on baiting deer. The decision came to fruition yesterday with the lift winning the vote 56-49. The bill will now move into the Senate for further consideration, and of course, because of this may not affect this year's hunt as the bill does await further deliberation. The ban itself was initially placed in 2018 by the Michigan Natural Resources Commission. And more on the ongoing Line 5 debate. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel filed an appeal yesterday in reaction to the Court of Claims decision on a suit against the governor and Departments of Natural Resources and Environment and Great Lakes and Energy. The outcome of this appeal, however, will have zero effect on the separate suit filed by Nessel in regard to the public trust doctrine and other common law and statutory claims. As arguments are presented from both sides, the Line 5 pipeline will remain in its current state. And stay tuned, because after this short break, we'll be back with a look at national and international news.
The treasured Dead Sea Scrolls are under threat from the ravages of time and convincing forgeries.
These things pass carbon-14 dating.
Can new technology save the scrolls?
All of the writing comes back to life.
It may be too late.
But there's always hope.
I said, you won't believe what you found.
We were walking on air.
Dead Sea Scroll Detectives on Nova.
Tonight at 9 and tomorrow at 3 p.m.
Welcome back to Public Eye News. Authorities say a 51-year-old Florida man groped a Walt Disney World princess during a photo spot at the Magic Kingdom. Orange County Sheriff's Office says Brian Sherman and his wife posed for pictures with the woman Saturday afternoon. Sherman said the character was his favorite before putting an arm around her and groping her. Co-workers told investigators the victim wasn't able to move before Sherman groped her. The Disney photographer provided the pictures to investigators who used them to identify Sherman, who was booked on battery charges. A disturbing new video shows a Florida school resource officer slamming a 15-year-old girl to the ground. 38-year-old Deputy Willard Miller was arrested Tuesday. He is charged with one account of felony child abuse without great bodily harm and is suspended without pay. Mola Langhi reports from Pompeo Beach, Florida.
Just after 2 p.m. on September 25th, school surveillance video shows a 15-year-old girl waiting inside an office with an officer and 2 other adults. You can see the student lightly kick the officer in the back of the knee, causing his leg to slightly buckle. But a minute later, the officer rushes over, grabs her around the neck, and slams her to the ground. He then turns her over, puts his knee into her back, and holds her hands behind her before throwing her into another room.
The way the deputy responds for whatever occurred, whatever type of verbal dialogue was going on, it makes no sense and it wasn't necessary.
School resource officers nationwide have come under increasing scrutiny for several recent excessive force claims involving young children. In New Mexico, a resource officer resigned after body cam video from August showed him tackle an 11-year-old middle school student to the ground. And in September, an Orlando officer was fired after he arrested 2 6-year-olds at school. Back in Broward, the Sheriff's Department is focused on fixing its own problems. Just this year, Sheriff Gregory Toney fired this deputy for punching a handcuffed man in the hospital. And he suspended 2 deputies without pay for tackling and pepper spraying a 15-year-old boy in a McDonald's parking lot.
If I have to do this 15 more times, we're going to do it 15 more times. And to those small fraction of people out there and deputies who don't get it are held accountable, and we're going to move them on.
The Broward County Sheriff's Office is conducting an internal investigation before deciding exactly what steps to take next with this officer in this most recent incident, including possible termination. Now, if convicted, Deputy Miller faces up to 5 years in prison. Mola Langhi, CBS News, Pompano Beach, Florida.
9 U.S. citizens were killed Monday in Mexico after an ambush by a drug cartel. 3 women and 6 children were killed when the cartel attacked their vehicles, 3 large SUVs, in northern Mexico. However, among the children that survived are heroes. Some walking upwards of 10 miles to get help wounded themselves. Officials believe the cartel may have mistaken the family's SUVs for a rival gang. And both Democrats and Republicans are claiming victory a day after voters went to the polls for a variety of local and statewide elections. Some of the races were hard fought as parties head into the 2020 presidential election. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
Democrat Andy Beshear held a news conference Wednesday about his plans for Kentucky after claiming victory in the state's governor's race.
It's time to come together and to get to work.
Beshear leads incumbent Republican Governor Matt Bevin by 5,000 votes. The race is still officially too close to call, and Bevin isn't ready to throw in the towel.
We are not conceding this race by any stretch.
President Trump, who won Kentucky by 30 points in 2016, traveled there on election eve to help Bevin, whose policies were unpopular in the state.
If you lose, they're going to say Trump suffered the greatest defeat in the history of the world. This was the greatest. You can't let that happen to me.
Republicans did win every other statewide race in Kentucky, including Daniel Cameron, who becomes the state's first African-American attorney general. President Trump pointed to those victories in a tweet Wednesday, saying, based on the Kentucky results, Mitch McConnell will win big in Kentucky next year.
But the governor's race in Kentucky and state legislative races in Virginia point to President Trump's vulnerabilities with suburban voters.
In Virginia, Democrats took full control of the state government for the first time in more than 2 decades. Democratic Party Chairman Tom Perez says the party's message of unity is resonating in the suburbs.
Prince William County embodies the challenges that Donald Trump and his politics of division are confronting in today's world. It is the quintessential suburb.
The president is not done campaigning. He heads to Louisiana tonight ahead of the November 16 runoff election in that state's governor's race. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
After the short break, we'll be back with weather and sports. Here on Public Eye News.
I've been around the world, but there's one place I keep coming back to. On this episode of UTR, we head to the Central UP for some taste-tempting traditional toast, yummy Youper brew, Native American culture, and a great new golf course. Heck, we'll even take you on a satisfying sail. This is an under the radar you just gotta see.
Thursday at 9:30, Friday at 5, and Saturday night at 10:30.
I'm Maya Kurth, your weather forecast today. Currently, we're looking at the NMU sky cam. It's cloudy. Classes are winding down for the day. Moving to our current conditions, it's pretty cloudy. 30 degrees, west-northwest winds at 15 miles per hour. Barometric pressure is going to be 30.28 and falling. This evening, we're going to have some snow, low of 23 degrees, west-northwest winds at 20 miles per hour. And tomorrow, we're also going to have a little more snow, high of 29 degrees, and northwest winds at 18 miles per hour. Looking at the UP, on the eastern side of the state in Sault Ste. Marie, we're going to have 31 degrees, 32 in Manistee, 32 in Escanaba, 30 in Menominee. Moving on to the western side of the state, Iron Mountain, 29. Ironwood 23, 26 in Houghton, and 30 back in Marquette, and pretty cloudy throughout the rest of the state. Looking ahead to our future conditions, on Friday we're going to have a high of 31, low of 24, mostly cloudy. On Saturday, high of 37, low of 29 and cloudy. Sunday, high of 32, low of 16 and snowy. And although it's some pretty dim weather, we're going to have some bright outcomes on the basketball field, hopefully.
Yeah, we're hoping for it as the Wildcats get ready to kick off this weekend. The NMU Wildcats basketball team is set to start the regular season with 2 games this weekend. Saturday on the 9th, they'll be facing Lewis University at 6:30 at the McKendree Gym. And then on Sunday the 10th, they'll be back in the McKendree Gym to take on McKendree University at 4 p.m. Last year, the team's record was 17-12 with a 10-2 record at home. Even though they won't play with last year's season star point guard Naba Eccles, the Wildcats still look to improve their record this year. Good luck to the Wildcats this weekend. And in NBA news last night, the LA Lakers beat the Chicago Bulls 118-112, continuing on a 3-game win streak. LeBron James hit a franchise milestone last night as being the first Laker to have 3 consecutive triple-doubles since Magic Johnson. LeBron James finished last night's game with 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 11 assists. The Los Angeles Lakers now improved to 6-1 on the season as they'll be taking on Miami Heat at home this Friday at 10:30, which should be a pretty good game as the Heat definitely living up to their name so far this year. Tomorrow for Thursday night football, we have an AFC West matchup as the Los Angeles Chargers will square up against the Oakland Raiders in Oakland to kick off Week 10 action in the NFL. The Raiders look to keep the momentum going after an impressive win against the Lions last week, while the Chargers continue their playoff push after taking down the Packers with their last game. Kickoff will be Thursday at 8:20 p.m. with broadcast live on Fox and the NFL Network. And Joe, not really sports related here, but as college students, we know that times can get tough and money can sometimes be tight. And here you got something about somebody making money in an odd way.
Oh, Todd, there's nothing like the ingenuity of a struggling college student. Well, one college student is in some hot water, or should we say a hot batter, with Krispy Kreme Donut Company after reselling the donuts for profit. Jason Gonzalez of Minnesota drove his car 270 miles on a weekly basis to a Krispy Kreme store in Iowa before turning around and selling them back for profit back home in Minnesota. The sales prompted warning from the cooperation to Gonzalez, who said some customers spent up to $100 per purchase. And that is all the time we have here on Public Eye News. I am Joseph Sigourney.
I'm Todd Rose, and from all of us, make sure you have a safe and lovely evening, and we'll see you all tomorrow night.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.